Hi, my name is Keith Nitka. I'm the Battleship Operations Manager here on board Battleship Wisconsin. I want to thank you for joining me today on this Whiskey Wednesday virtual adventure. In the last video, you saw I was talking about the bullseyes and the addresses on board the battleship. To go along with the City at Sea programming that we have here on board Battleship, we are in one of the 7 fire stations on board the ship. Just like you have in your hometown, you may have 1, possibly 2 fire stations. In the big city, they got lots of fire stations. We have on board Battleship Wisconsin 7 separate fire stations. They are all tied in or linked together by DC Central, which is kind of like your 911 station, your central dispatch. And depending on where there may be fire, flooding, battle damage, the closest fire station will respond to that emergency. So we are in station number 1 forward, and in the video that we were in last, we were up in the captain's cabin, 01 TAC 95, TAC 3, TAC Lima. This would be the closest fire station to the captain's cabin. So if we happened to be in the captain's cabin and something happened, a fire broke out, perhaps something like that, the ship would go to general quarters for a fire, and the men that worked in this fire station here would take all the gear, the necessary precautions as far as dressing out for a fire, the hoses, fire extinguishers, any tools they might need. They would take that all from here and go and respond to the fire. One of the things I was talking about in the bullseye system, again, the captain's cabin, 01 TAC 95, TAC 3, TAC Lima, we have a fire there. So down in DC Central, and also here at the fire station, we have these DC fire plates. And a DC fire plate is pretty much a blueprint of the ship. So we know that the emergency, the fire, is in the captain's cabin, 01 TAC 95, TAC 3, TAC Lima. So we're going to look at these different damage control plates, and we can find the room depending on which plate that we have open and out. And this will tell us what is above us in that fire space, what is below us in that fire space, and what is surrounding us in that fire space. So that if we have a fire in this particular room, and we know that there's an ammunition storage room directly above it, then we have a serious problem. We need to get this taken care of quickly. That's what the DC plates do for us in this regard as far as blueprints, which is why the bullseye is so very important as far as an emergency on board the ship. Not only do we need to know where we need to go, but we need to know what is around the emergency so that if we need to take special precautions, we can also do that. So that's what happens with the DC plates. Everything inside this room, everything inside this fire station stays in this fire station unless there is something that we need to do with it in regards to this fire station. So there are tools in here, hammers, screwdrivers, wrenches. You can't take that out of here to work on the stateroom across the passageway. If you need a hammer, you need to go back to tool issue and go and get one and then bring it back up here. You can't walk into the fire station and take a tool, because if we need it and it goes missing, then there's a serious problem. One of the other things I want to talk about as far as in this fire station here, when you come visit us on board Battleship Wisconsin, you're going to see a lot of different time periods involved here on the ship. One of the things that you'll see here in the fire station is an SCBA or a Scott pack. That's what firefighters use today. In the 1980s, the 1990s, when Battleship Wisconsin was in service, what we used was called an OBA. This is an OBA. So instead of having it on my back, I have it on my chest. And there is a canister, a green canister, that gives me oxygen. This makes oxygen. It's concave, so it'll only go in one way, and I know which way it's going to go in. Take off the top, slide that up in there, lock the bail in place, and then pull the pin at the bottom. I've got the mask on my face, and when I can start to smell smoke because I pulled that pin, that lets me know that it's now burning and it's making oxygen. In essence, there's a candle in there and it's making oxygen. Gets really, really hot, and when it's empty, I need to dump it out and get a new one. Now, there's a timer on here. I don't know if you can hear it ticking there, but it gives me approximately 15 minutes of oxygen, give or take. That is under normal working conditions. If anybody's ever been in a fire, they'll know that that's not particularly normal working conditions. You start to breathe heavy, you're running around, you're panting, you're a little nervous, you're excited, so there's a lot of, you're taking a lot of shallow breaths. And these tanks will go faster on you than you're really prepared for. So you don't want to set it for the full 15 minutes. You want to give yourself a little bit of leeway there, because when the full time is up, this rings and lets you know you've got no oxygen anymore. So then you pull yourself out of the fire situation or the emergency situation or whatever it is, and you start over again. So this is what we used back in the day. It's called an OBA, oxygen breathing apparatus. Now, something else that you'll see here inside the fire station that we have in today's world, they use turnout gear in the fire department. So in the modern Navy, they have turnout gear, which is the same stuff that firefighters wear when they go into burning buildings. In the 1980s, we did not have such a thing. We just went into battle dress. It was called battle dress. So you'll see pictures of sailors in the 1980s, the 1990s, before they changed over to the camouflage. They were wearing, in essence, blue shirts and blue jeans. Battle dress was a long sleeve shirt, and you'd button your cuff tight. Down at the bottom of your pants there, you'd stuff your pants into your socks. You'd button your collar button here. And then if you had flash gear, you'd be wearing that. Otherwise, you'd be just wearing a steel pot helmet. The steel pot helmet's what is going to protect you, similar to a firefighter wears his helmet or her helmet when they're out on a scene. We wore battle helmets. This is nothing more than a steel pot that's left over from World War II, Vietnam, that sort of thing. Don't use them anymore in the military. That's all Kevlar, and as I understand it, they don't use helmets when they're at general quarters or anything like that anymore. I don't know, I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've been in the Navy, but it's what I understand. So anyway, this is one of the fire stations on board the ship. We have lots of them. Like again, I said 7. They're in different areas on board the ship, and they work the same as your fire department in town. There's an emergency on the ship somewhere. They'll send the closest fire station to deal with that problem. DC Central will give communications to this fire station here. That's like your 911 center, and it disseminates from there, and the guys take care of the situation, whatever it may be. Because we can't call 911 out at sea. We need to take care of it here. So I want to thank you for joining me today on our Whiskey Wednesday virtual adventure. Come back again. Join us in the next part of the series for City at Sea. And I offer you to come to the ship, give us a visit, take a walk around, talk to the tour guides, talk to the different people that work with me here on board the ship. We love talking about the ship. We love talking about the fire stations and everything else, fire suppression, everything you ever could want to know about it. We all know about it here. A lot of the guys and gals here are former Navy, and they know firefighting. So come on down and we can tell you all about it. Thank you very much. Have a great day.